did you think about risk management? And I'd love to hear details if any stand out, but how did you think about risk management that kept you alive when many others flamed out?
Yeah. There are certain principles that I would adhere to as far as how to manage a book. Some of this I think is a lot of it's context dependent, but let's take a sort of a broad one. A lot of people have rules about, and I don't want to lump trend into this because it'll be obvious in a minute. For example, if you are managing an options portfolio, you do not want to have a risk rule that says, if I lose this much money, get out. Because, first of all, conceptually, that makes no sense to me. Why would my rule of doing anything be conditional upon my P&L's memory? It makes no sense to me. So the other reason why you don't want to have a rule like that is because that's when the opportunity is probably the best, is when the pain is kind of happening and happened. So you don't want P&L memory as an input into the rule. So what do? You have to have your ex ante rule beforehand has to constrain what is your losses that you can have. So you might have a rule that says, and these kinds of things would come up in like you're trading, you have an options portfolio says, you know what? If a stock in this portfolio goes BK, I cannot lose X dollars. It's not okay. So I cannot have a position that could lose X dollars in a bankruptcy scenario. So that is a constraint. I might say, okay, and I might have thresholds. There's thresholds beneath that. Say, okay, I don't want if I might have to reduce my position if it gets to a point where I could lose X dollars. But if I lose Y dollars, I'm not even allowed to have that position. If I get into that territory, I have very, very strict rules about how quickly that position needs to get cut to get me below my cutoffs. Okay. So in an options portfolio, that's a simple kind of a rule that says I cannot ex ante have this kind of risk on. I don't care how much edge you see in it, not allowed. You cannot, I would think about things in terms of like constraining not just your nets, it's your gross. I need to constrain my line item. How many options am I allowed to even have on a strike? I don't want to, because what if that strike pins and now I have a coin flip on my dollar delta on Monday morning? Not allowed. Can't have a position that big on a strike. Can't have, I can't run long 10 million Vega in 1 month and short 10 million Vega in another month and say, oh, look, I'm flat. No, I have to constrain my gross in every month. I have to constrain by name, by sector, by it's just this like concentric orbits of constraints on everything that you are allowed to do.
So familiar.
That's it. I mean, it's and then you have your Greeks are one thing. You might manage around your Greeks, but the thing about Greeks is that they're local. So my Greeks will dictate how big things can be on sort of like a day-to-day basis. But I need to shock my portfolio. If I shock my portfolio and I put in insane assumptions about what could happen, especially me, I was trading futures. On average, futures contracts are correlated with one another on the term structure, but not always. Sometimes they can go in opposite directions, and it makes sense that they would go in opposite directions because we could have a squeeze today that can destroy demand tomorrow. And that dynamic means that it would be logical for these contracts to go in opposite directions. So if I'm using any kind of model that says that acts as if this correlation is always positive, I have problems. So I need to constrain against that. So it's just this constant number of constraints that you are putting on your portfolio and recognizing that the biggest shock has not happened yet. In everything that you trade, the biggest shock has not happened yet. So that has to be built into that also has to be built into your risk. So And then with options, because you have all these different orders of stuff, you need to account for all that as well. So, in a sense, I think that it's probably like one of the great things about trading options is that it's probably the tip of this. Trading nonlinear products is probably the tip of the spear as far as risk management understanding.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's the ideas that come out of the like arbitrage options world are filled with lessons for how to think about risk that I think everybody can inherit. The context could be different, but the principles are worth studying. And survival is basically about ex ante constraint. You know, that's how you survive. That's how you survive all the, it's 2020. I mean, and honestly, the options, well, a lot of them blew up, but the options firms that have market maker blood, by and large, do very well in those situations, because they might get beat up. Like, the nature of being any kind of a market maker is that when the world changes, you take a hickey right away. But your risk management rules allow you to recover. And now you are standing in this amazing environment that you can make all the money back. And I remember from the floor, you would walk in some days and the market will have done something nuts. And you start the day down you're like in the hole, 3 months worth of work, you're in the hole, and you might make it back in the same day, because how bad it was is like, at some point that risk was constrained, and now you're standing there ready to make markets, and you have to toss it out. Like, I know I took a big hickey today, 3 months of work out the window, but today we make hay. Like,
Yeah, and other guys are getting fully liquidated, right? And the prices are reflecting that. And therefore the spreads are massive, the Vegas are huge, they're like, the opportunities are massive. Yep. And you are still standing and able to profit from those opportunities.
Well,
right?
Yeah, if I understand correctly, something that you haven't seen before happens, you get wiped out, or something that is completely unexpected happens. Once it does happen, you're back in your own turf. You know exactly what's up.
Yeah.
You're right. So the first shock is terrible. What the hell happened to us? After that, get your bearings. I understand the playing field. Let's go make some money. Right. And there's more spreads than ever to do it.
I would say, related to this, as far as like what it's like to trade this stuff, it's your mindset slips into different modes, and you have to know how to turn certain modes on and off. What I mean by that, when markets are kind of regular, I'm looking for good positions. I'm looking for like, I'm trading to target levels of risk, and like I say, I'm going to accumulate I want to be long oil. I want to be long oil vol. I want to be short corn vol. I have an idea of like, these are the things that I want. I have axes. However, when the world changes and we go into everything's in flux and something has changed, that you might go out of that mode and say market maker mode. Okay. No positions, no opinions. Today I trade relatively flat. By the end, like, I'm going to look at the end of the day, how much Vega, like, and that's something I would always watch. How much Vega did I buy today? How much Vega did I sell today? And what months? How much gamma? How much theta? In every month, I want to know, what did I do today? And in certain modes, if I accumulated a position in a fast market kind of condition, I'm usually sad. So I know that I need to stay away from a position accumulation. So what happens is, I buy, I think this is a good buy, starts to go against me. You know what? Make sure that the world changed. Like, maybe the thing that maybe I bought this, and no, there's always a reason. Everything that I buy or sell, there's a reason. I know exactly what the reason is. I bought this because this is bid here, right? Like, I sold this because this is offered here. Like, everything that I trade, I know exactly why I did it. And if I sold this here, and then this thing that I was offered here goes up to here, and this goes up here, I buy this back. I hate my trade now. Because this thing's now here. So I want to buy this back. I have no problem locking in a loser. I have no problem as long as the reason for that trade has been refuted by the market. I might even go and say the other way. I sold this thing. Now I want to buy it because now I want to buy this thing and sell this thing that I thought before was causing me to sell it. Now that thing's high and I want to sell that. So I will completely flip my position, say, because I know what I'm trading against, and everything has a reason. I don't do a trade on an opinion. It's like the trader on a desk comes to you. Why'd you do this? Why'd you do that? There better be a list of reasons. I said, this was offered here. This was bid there. I'm seeing this flow here. That guy's going to I need to know the reasons, everything I do. This what's hard for me for investing is because I don't understand the reasons that well. I understand the reasons for trading, but I don't understand the, macro. I really don't understand the reason. I don't think I understand any of that.